Hey everyone, Spider-Man 1991 here, and I like to read comic books. And today I'm going to be talking about the comic books I read for the week of October 23rd, 2014. Let's get started. Starting off with Marvel, Amazing Spider-Man number 8. Spider-Man and the new Miss Marvel find out that the Kree doctor from last issue is trying to take actually contains an infant, like a little baby, and of course Spider-Man deals with the Kree while Kamala takes care of the baby. When Miss Marvel is cornered by the henchmen, one of them, well, the henchmen that were hired by the Kree lady, one of them actually turns on the rest of them because he doesn't really want to deal with Spider-Man. So he turns against the rest of the henchmen with a sonic weapon. After Spider-Man, during the fight though, Spider-Man is able to trick the Kree woman into leaving by faking that he's calling the Avengers, when he and Miss Marvel kind of realize that this Kree woman is by herself. She's not here on the Kree Empire, so basically she's all alone. So they act like they're going to call the Avengers, causes her to leave. Then after they return the baby, Spider-Man congratulates Miss Marvel and compliments her, saying that she reminds him of him when he was her age, and that really makes her happy. And then he identifies the henchman that helped them as Clayton Cole, aka Clash. If you read Learning to Crawl, you know who that is. And Spidey decides to help Clayton out by Clayton, of course, says he's on parole, and Spidey decides to help him out by giving him Parker Industries' business card, which, when he goes and sees Peter Parker, Peter hires him for his company. And of course, now let's get into the cover story of this issue, the Spider-Verse tie-in, which involves the Amazing Spider-Girl, Mary Jane and Peter Parker's daughter, on an alternate Earth, where basically one of Morland's brothers has attacked the Parker clan and is burnt, and their house is on fire. Peter, who's pretty much old and only has one working leg, does his best to fight Morland's brother, while Mary Jane asks Mayday to leave with her baby brother Benji to make sure that they're safe. And they get out in time, but it looks like Mary Jane and Peter didn't make it. Fortunately, though, May and Ben are rescued by two alternate Spider-Men who take them into the multiverse to meet with the rest of their team, and that's pretty much where the issue ends. Okay, the main story of this Spider-Man team up with the new Miss Marvel was very nice. It's a short two-parter, kind of an interlude between the last story arc we had and Spider-Verse, but it's kind of just a fun, short little title. I mean, it is a great introduction to the new Miss Marvel if you haven't been reading that series, and it's also a great subtle and great reintroduction to the ex-supervillain Clash, who, if you read from Learning to Crawl, because I had a feeling Clash was going to reappear at some point. I just didn't expect it to be so soon. Also, the Spider-Verse tie-in, it was, if you were very sad with last issue's Spider-Verse tie-in, which saw the death of Spider-Man and his amazing friends, this is definitely evokes the same emotion, and that definitely tells you that Spider-Verse is definitely going to be a good story, and it also sends the message that during the story arc, no Spider-Man will be safe. No matter what the Earth, no Spider-Man is safe from Morland's family. So overall, I would say Amazing Spider-Man, it's definitely a buy. Next up, Cyclops, number 6. Scott and Corsair are reunited with the Starjammers, but Scott really isn't adjusting too well at this space pirate life. He throws up after having a drink with one of the Starjammers at their whole reunion party for Corsair. Then he tries to help out in the engine room, and he ends up wrecking damaging it. And when he and Corsair go out in space, he forgets to run the spread spectrum subliminal scan, which causes the Starjammers to be hailed by an old enemy of Corsair's, Malefic. That's his name. Corsair and pretty much when Malefic has all the Starjammers arrested, Corsair pretty much starts yelling and berating Scott for what he did and like punching him in the face. But right before he's about to hit him, Corsair gives Scott a little wink to let him know that, just to say like, son, play along. I know what I'm doing here. And so basically, And so when Corsar's beating up on Scott and berating him, Malefic then takes the rest of the Starjammers and launches them into space in an escape pod that has the life support disabled. And and after that, Malefic then asks Scott, like, who are you and why did Corsar want you on his crew? And so Scott shows him his optic blasts, which he fires at Corsar, and Malefic then decides to take Scott on as his crew, which Scott says his name is Scott Cyclops to avoid letting him know that he's related to Corsar. And so Corsar is basically taken as Malefic's prisoner, and Scott's his new shipmate. Okay, well, I like it. Well, we got a new writer on Cyclops now, John Layman. He's definitely taken the book in a new direction. Up till now, Scott's been able to survive space because he's had his dad to help him out. Now, however, Scott's dad is captured. Scott's in a very dangerous situation, and now he kind of has to survive this by himself, without his dad, without the Starjammers. So it will be very interesting. And also, I think Layman is going to be bringing back the space pirate theme with the Starjammers into this book, which is great. And another thing, the Starjammers, we don't really get to see them much in the Cyclops book, which I find odd a little. I mean, yeah, I get that this series is about Scott and his dad, but I don't know, I figured we could have the Starjammers stick around for more than just one issue. But other than that, it's a great series. This is definitely a great series. It's also a good jumping on point for people who have been reading Cyclops. So if you haven't been reading it, or if you've read the last 5 issues, this is definitely a buy. All right, now it's time for DC Comics with The Flash number 35. Basically, future Barry is in the present, and he takes present-day Barry Allen. Okay, just to avoid confusion, I'm going to refer to for this review, I'm going to refer to Barry's future counterpart as Blue Flash, and present Barry as just Barry. So anyways, Blue Flash takes Barry to the scar in the pretty much the area where the scar of the Speed Force took place back when Daniel West first got his powers, and there was the whole incident with the ship people from Central City being stuck in the Speed Force way back in the beginning of Flash. Anyways, Blue Flash takes Barry to that location where the scar and the Speed Force is taking place, and it is big. And it's only at like 3.7% damage right now. So Blue Flash shows it to Barry, and he starts fighting Barry and explains that he's going to try to kill Barry so that when he does, Barry's Speed Force energy will be released and be able to heal the scar and stop the Speed Force from collapsing. And of course, while Barry fights his future self, he discovers that his future self is a lot more than speed, as Blue Flash makes reference to the fact that he took up some fighting skills from Deathstroke, Lady Shiva, and Batman. And of course, right when Blue Flash is about to kill Barry, do the finishing blow, Wally from 5 years later shows up, who's now wearing a Silver Style Flash costume, here to help save Barry. And of course, Wally fights future Barry along with present Barry, but unfortunately, present Barry gets hit. He's about to die, so Wally decides to absorbs the damage from Barry, which causes Wally to die. And when he dies, his Speed Force energy is released, which is able to heal the scar in the Speed Force. But unfortunately, there are consequences. Blue Flash is now stuck in the present since his timeline's erased and he can no longer return. Barry, however, is sent somehow. He's stuck. I believe stuck in the past because when he immediately wakes up, there's a dinosaur near him, and he doesn't have any super speed. Of course, then suddenly there's a robot probe that somehow appears and is following him. So, which seems to hint that maybe Barry's not exactly on Earth, so to speak, or maybe he's stuck in the past or something. And so that's pretty much where the issue ends. Okay, Barry had some. Wally definitely gave Barry some touching words before he died. He thanked Barry for not giving up on him and told him that he helped make Barry a better person, which I thought was sweet. I thought that was very genuine, and I think hearing that from a future version of Wally is definitely going to help Barry with his relationship with the younger Wally West. And also, it will be interesting to see what's going to happen with Blue Flash in the present day, because obviously he's going to be around for a while now, which I think is good, which I think will be interesting. I'm kind of glad we didn't really get rid of him after this whole one story arc with the Speed Force scar and everything. So yeah, overall I'd say this was a pretty entertaining Flash story. I highly recommend it. Although time travel is involved, so you're definitely gonna have to go back to the first issue. Robert Venditti took over as the new writer in order to fully understand what exactly is going on here. So yeah, overall, pretty great story. I think Wally West fans are also going to enjoy this just as much as the Barry Allen fans. So Flash number 35, definitely a buy. Superman number 35. Picking up from where the last issue left off, when Ulysses accidentally killed the man who was posing as the Machinist. As it turns out, the guy was already dead, so they gloss over the mortality Ulysses faces after killing a guy, even though he technically didn't kill him. Anyways, Superman inspects some of the equipment and has Ulysses track down the energy signal to the real Machinist, which they are successfully able to do, tracking him down to a ship in the North Atlantic where the Machinist is supposed to make this big deal where he had selling his weapons. They find the Machinist, they capture him, and Superman tries to get him to give up his client list, but then, Ulysses decides to use his powers to track down, to pretty much detect any weapon built by Machinist through the energy signature and stuff, because Ulysses' powers are like super energy based. So Ulysses scans the Machinist, and then he apparently senses weapons all over the planet. And of course, when this happens, Ulysses says that they need to destroy every single weapon on Earth immediately, when he realizes there are so many weapons on Earth. And Superman says, that's not how we do things. We use our powers to set an example, not directly interfere. And of course, that really doesn't fly with Ulysses, and he flies off. And then Superman's left alone with the Machinist, who then decides to activate his self-destruct sequence. Later, Ulysses goes missing for a while. Superman is contacted by Ulysses' parents, asking where he is, and Superman says he has no idea, and right now he's going back to the Daily Planet as Clark Kent. Lois Lane and Jimmy Olsen are trying to talk to Ulysses' parents for an interview, but they refuse. Then Ulysses makes a worldwide broadcast on television, the internet, and declares that he wants to help humanity achieve utopia, and he's going to do that by bringing people of Earth to the fourth dimension where he's from. And so suddenly a portal opens, a bunch of ships come down, and he says he plans on taking 6 million humans with him back to the fourth dimension. Okay. This issue felt very fast-paced. It really did. They definitely kind of glossed over the whole consequences of Ulysses killing the guy very quickly, which I don't mind, but I kind of felt like it was sort of accelerated at the end, where we really didn't get that, where ultimately it looked like the Machinist was more of a puppet rather than a big villain and stuff. And I think that's also, and right before he's about to blow himself up, he alludes to the fact that he is working for someone else, and someone named Mr. Oz. And I think this could refer to the guy, if you've been reading Jeff Johns' Superman since Jeff Johns and Romita took over, then you know that someone's been watching Superman and he knows he's Clark Kent. That could be Mr. Oz that Machinist spoke of, although that's just a theory right now. Also, the idea of Ulysses at first trying to destroy all the weapons on Earth kind of reminded me of Superman 4, but unlike Superman 4, this one's actually pretty good. But really, it feels like we are definitely speeding things up now. I do know that according to the January solicitations for DC Comics, that this story will conclude by then, so we've only got about 3 parts left of it. I still say, though, that despite a few fast-paced flaws, Superman number 35 is still a great issue. I think John Romita Jr. is doing a fantastic job as the artist. I also think Jeff Johns is doing a good job writing the book. So honestly, I would say Superman. If you haven't really been enjoying Superman in the New 52, definitely check out Johns and Romita Jr.'s run on this. Okay. And that's it for my comic review. Thank you for watching. Thank you for subscribing to my channel. I'm Spider-Man 1991 saying see you later.